Just watched a TikTok of Arthur bombing a kid in Red Dead 2. That shit's pretty funny. But anyways, in this video, I'm going to be talking about billcipher. Now, I've been meaning to do a certified menace on billcipher. Maybe not meaning to, but I did kind of have the idea in my head when I was doing this series, certified menace, thinking, you know what, billcipher would be a pretty lucky contestant for this series because he's a pretty cracked out evil triangle. I'm not gonna when I used to actually watch Gravity Falls, I used to call him like Illuminati. So yeah, pretty much he's just evil Illuminati, and he actually is like the Illuminati because he can see like everything. Everywhere where there is a triangle with an eye in there, he can look through that shit like it's binoculars or like it's a telescope or something. Like it's actually crazy then with the stuff like bro can do. Like in the first episode, I'm gonna be going over like, you know, his sixth sense of humor and how cracked he is. And in the first episode, we get to see right away what type of person this guy is, and he does not really seem to give a fuck. After, you know, Gideon ended up being ended up like speaking backwards like a broken video recorder. He ends up summoning billcipher in his mind. Billcipher like makes everything go black and white. He slows down time, and then he makes Gideon. He tries to, you know, make a joke by just turning into an evil dentist and ripping out all the set of teeth in a dare and just giving them to Gideon as like a birthday present or some shit. He just like ripped teeth out of it there, gave it to him like he's just offering him, you know, like sweets or whatever. And then he put them back in, and he thought that shit was funny, you know. billcipher throughout this series, he's like pretty insane. I'm not sure why he's insane. I'd like to think he's insane is because he knows so much and he couldn't handle all the knowledge that he knows, so he ended up becoming cracked. And yeah, I think he's able to see into the time, future, and present at once. And you know, I'd imagine that would make you go insane. The same kind of goes for Pennywise. You know, Pennywise does seem a bit cracked, and he did say in the Welcome Dairy show that he could see, you know, time, present, future all at once. That seems like it'd make anyone go insane. It'd probably make you like lose track of time, you know. So his sense of humor is pretty sick and twisted. Like in the episode where he possesses billcipher, he possesses himself. So basically, in this episode, Dipper is trying to crack the code. He's trying to, you know, figure out the password to the great uncle Ford's laptop, and he can't. So then billcipher, you know, spawns in, hops into his mind, and is like, "Yo, kid, I help you if you just let me crawl up in your ass and just let me take a joyride in your body." And then Dipper accepts that deal. But then billcipher, with his nature, pretty much how he works is that he will like, you know, say, "Oh yeah, I'll do this for you," and you'll be like enticed by the deal. So like when you shake his hand, you know, you're basically giving him access to your body, and once he's in your body, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. He doesn't really give a shit about the deal that he made. He'll like bend the truth, or he'll just use trickery, because he said he'll use he just wants to use a puppet, and in return, you know, Bill will help him with the password. So then when Dipper asked him what puppet, he just said, you. He just possessed Dipper's body. And the first thing he starts doing when he possesses Dipper's body is he tries to, like, you know, kill himself or some shit. He like throws himself down the stairs. He keeps slamming his hand in like a cabinet drawer. He like stabs himself with knives and forks because that shit's funny to him. He says pain is hilarious to him. Now, if that's not a crack person, I don't know what it is. He thinks pain is funny. Alright, bro, relax. And he does like other shit that people normally find, like, you know, disturbing and, you know, pretty fucked up. But to him it'd be funny. You know, in Weird Mageddon, actually, this is probably the most brutal thing he's done. I'm not gonna lie, even for like a kid show. Pacifica Northwest, named after the ocean. Her dad basically offered to be like billcipher's #1 dick rider, and then billcipher was like, how about I just like fuck up your face and make it look like you just got like, you know, plastic surgery in the back alley by someone who doesn't know what they're doing. So he like shuffles up all like the his facial functions. Like he puts like his nose where his mouth should be. He puts like his nose somewhere else. I don't know. He makes your man look like a character out of the Q or whatever. You know, those aliens that are able to, like, you know, basically change a human's biology. That's what he did to your man, and he found that shit funny. He also, you know, froze Uncle Stan just so he could use him as a back scratch. You know, like he'll turn you to stone just so he can use you to scratch his ass. He also, in Weird Mageddon, he made like a whole throne. He has like a big ass ego as well. Like he made a whole throne out of like a bunch of petrified, stonified humans just to have like a throne, because when he came to Earth, he's like, right, so Earth is pretty much my playground. I bought the rights to Earth. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Like, as soon as billcipher got into a physical form, it was pretty much over. The only thing actually that was holding billcipher back from, you know, fucking up the entire universe or galaxy was like this invisible bubble around Gravity Falls, and it's something to do with like Gravity Falls law of nature, law of weirdness or nature or whatever. Like, Gravity Falls is supposed to be the weird town, but the weirdness can't leave Gravity Falls, has to say. And that was like the only thing that was holding Bill back from like going the full on psycho mode and completely turning every part of the universe into whatever he wants. Like he's actually explaining to Ford like, yo, so when I get out of here, I'm gonna mold it to whatever I want. So it'll be like a party. It'll be a party, unlimited party, never ends. And he also offered Ford to have the powers of a god, pretty much, be like right beside Bill, being like able to do whatever he want. Like in the flashback or in the thing that he was telling Ford about, he's literally just like carving up Earth, like drawing smiley faces on that shit like it's paper, and he's using pencil. He's literally treating Earth like it's his blank canvas, and he can just draw whatever like pictures you want. Like it's like he's playing with sand at a beach or whatever. Like this guy, he doesn't really see him, all the fucked up shit he's doing as like, oh, that's so evil and all. He just kind of sees it as like funny and entertaining. He also does have a big massive ego. He doesn't really like it when people get the better of him. It's shown in the first episode as well, when he was losing to Bipper, that's actually what he was called when he's possessing Dipper. When he was losing to Mabel, Susan, all, when they're using their imagination. At first, Bill was like, wait, don't listen to them. Just let me kill you, please, and you don't have to fight back. It's easier when you don't resist. And then what's it called? When they start beating him, Bill Cipher's like, alright, fuck this shit. He just, turned the whole thing into a blip white universe and just teleported away. And then earlier on, when they ended up, fucking him over, when he was about to read to Gideon the code to stand safe, Mabel like shot like a plastic arrow at it, flinging the piece of the door away. Gideon told him, deal's off, buddy, fuck off, see you later. And then Bill, he got super pissed, and then he made a battlefield, made a battlefield out of Stan's head, and raised up in there and initiated the fight. So this guy is really cocky and arrogant, and he'll like act like he's better than everyone around him, because technically he is. He's like the most OP character in the show. But as soon as you start to get on his nerve, as soon as you start to pinch him the wrong way, he will get pissed. He will get furious. He does not like it at all when people get the better of him. It's like he can do whatever the fuck he wants to you. But if you do one little thing, if you even screw him one little bit, he will be like, yeah, it's over. He'll like evaporate you. He'll vaporize you and your whole like family and shit if you fuck with him. This also actually does end up being like his downfall in a way, because towards the end of Word Beginning, when they start to trick Bill, he's way too eager. He's like supposed to be near omniscient, right? So he's supposed to be like able to see nearly every possible outcome, because at the start of the episode, he's like going through his memories, and I was like, Stanford, do I know that guy? Oh yeah, I do. Like he seems to know a lot of things, but he couldn't predict Stan and Ford, tricking him. Stan and Ford, what they done is actually really smart. Since they're twins, they both like change clothes, and instead of Bill going into Ford's mind, Bill ended up going into Stan's mind, because Bill was making a deal with Stan, thinking that was Ford, and then he ended up going into Ford's mind, he thought, but he actually went into Stan's mind, because he's trying to go into Ford's mind to try and get the equation to like this invisible bubble or whatever that SpongeBob blew to get out of break it and spread his shit all over the universe. But he ended up going into Stan's mind, and he ended up just getting Stan just like average dad just sitting on the couch playing fucking ping pong. It's the bat with a ball and a string, and you keep paddling back and forth. Yeah, he ended up just getting an empty box full of shit, pretty much. And he's also pretty insanely powerful as well. If he was a good guy, he'd be so much more handier for the heroes and shit. But he's also he's pretty cracked and evil. Also, one thing I forgot to mention, he's so insane and shit. He destroyed his own dimension. He completely vanquished it all, because no one could see. He's like the only person that's able to see into the idea of a third dimension. His dimension is basically everything was just 2D. Everything was just like a kid's drawing, pretty much. And he destroyed it because he just thought, right, so they're flat minds, flat dreams. They couldn't see higher. They couldn't see as much as I could. So he's like, what's the point in living? He just pissed all over him. And it's like to him, that was him liberating his dimension. He liberated him, he just basically freed them. And it's just like, bro, you just killed your own dimension. You just kind of see it as a justifiable thing. Yeah, this guy's not really right in the head. And it doesn't help as well that he's super insanely powerful, that he's also crazy as well. The only thing it's like a pretty good thing that he was trapped in the mindscape for most of the show, because he was still able to do shit throughout the show. He's just kind of able to do on a much minimal scale. Like when he was in Stan's mind, he's still able to do stuff. He blasted a hole into Dipper and Donafied him, basically just turned him into, gave him another hole that Mabel's, putting her fist through, prank. And and like if he's able to do that in real life, it'd be so much more scary and terrifying. And that's why I think if Gravity Falls was R-rated, it'd be so much more gorier. The shit that Bill would do. Holy crap! He'd like turn you inside out or whatever. He'd like place your arms in your mouth or put your legs on your stomach or like make another head grow out of your ass or some shit. He'd just turn you into Siamese twins. He'd pretty much do whatever he wants, and the limits like to his powers, it's pretty limitless. So like if it was R-rated, it'd be pretty good, but also be pretty insane, the shit that he was doing. And in the episode where he's possessing Dipper's body, he was still doing shit as well, but it's still like also minuscule. He had to like, he didn't have a physical form. He needed to go into physical form. But when he's in another physical form, he can't really use his powers. He's still doing shit as Dipper, but he couldn't really do as much. He's basically using Dipper's mind, Dipper's body, trick Mabel to giving him the book. He's also pretty evil and conniving. Like the first thing he did when he got into Dipper's mind, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll help you with the password by completely stomping the shit out of your laptop, pal. Yeah, you're gonna have to get a new one, pal. You're gonna have to go to Joyce and just buy another one. That's over. It's gone, completely destroyed." He basically reset Dipper's progress to finding out more secrets about the journals and all. Like Bill, he's the type of villain as well that he'll pretty much do. It seems like he'll do whatever it takes to kind of get what he wants, like possessing Dipper and destroying his laptop. When he had Ford stonified, he had Ford and turned into a stone like Medusa or whatever, and he unfroze him, try and get the information out of Ford. He's like, "Right, so Ford, I'm keeping you alive only for you to give me an equation," and he's actually some evil. He basically threatened to go torture Ford's kids. He was gonna go and torture Bill and Mabel to get the information out of Ford. So like this guy, when he has something, when he sets his mind to something, he's like, "Right, I'm gonna get that no matter what. I don't really give a shit if they break like 12-year-olds' legs and put them in hospital. I just want the equation for it. You can end this by giving it to me." It's like a lose-lose. So like if Ford, it'd be like even, I feel like it'd be even worse if Ford gave the equation to Bill, because then that would give Bill the freedom to do whatever he wanted. So like if Ford gave the equation to Bill, who's to say that Bill won't just like torture Ford's family anyway, just because it's funny? It's just a bit of like crack, it's just like stand-up comedy, but except it's him just fucking with his kids. But if he didn't, he'd just go torture the kids anyway. Like if he didn't, he'd only go torture his kids. He wouldn't be able to torture the whole world. But if he did, he'd be able to torture his whole world. So like it's pretty much a lose-lose anyway. But it's like on one side it's like a lose much more than on the other side. Although I will say one probably maybe redeeming quality about him is that he'll always hold up his end of the bargain. I don't know, it's kind of inconsistent because he didn't really hold up his end of the bargain with Bill. He just completely complete 180. So I guess he'll like choose to hold up the end of a bargain when it benefits him. With Gideon, he's actually holding up his end of the bargain. He was actually trying to find out the code for Gideon, and he's actually like reading him out the code. Gideon's the one that fired him, just like let him go and let him fuck off. So Bill, he would sometimes still help him. Like in Weird Begetting, when he's possessing a Blandin Blil, whatever blimp man, I don't know, this like the bald one of Time Baby's bald soldiers who he just bullies. Bill Cipher possessed Blandin and then offered him and then said to him, "Oh yeah, Time Baby, he'll never take the piss out of you or anything. He'll never suck on you like you're a ball or whatever and start playing around with you like you're bricks for kids." Because later on, when Bill Cipher was in his period, I was about to say when Bill Cipher was in his period, yeah, bro did act like he was on his period half the time. You just be getting pissed over people throwing him. But anyways, when he was in his big massive party pyramid dome, Time Baby showed up to his door, basically being like, "Right, Bill, you're under arrest. You violated the law of fucking with time. So put on the cuffs there, big boy. We're gonna go to Big Boy Center." And then Bill's like, "No." So he just like he literally just finger blasted Time Baby and just completely vaporized him. And after he done that, actually, that gave him the control over time. So I'm fairly sure. He said something like he had control over matter, time, and something else. He had control over 3 things. I remember 2 of them were in time and matter. But I heard that, yeah, he basically did still end up holding his end of the bargain. He said to Blandon, Time, I'll make sure Time Baby never bullies you again. If he shits his diaper, I won't change it for him. He's just going to be walking around with a shitty bum. And then he did, shoot Time Baby and vaporize him. And then Time Baby wasn't bullying Bland. So technically, he did hold up his end of the bargain. I don't know where Blandon went. He what's it called, time travel to somewhere else. Also, I wasn't gonna mention the book at all in this video. Pretty much, I just kind of wanted to talk about Bill as in like the TV show version of Bill. But yeah, he's so insane. I'm not sure. I don't even think this was a sense of humor. I think he's like a bit of a control freak as well. In the book, he was him and Ford basically had like this close relationship because they're both intellectuals, so they're both like able to bond over that. They weren't gay. He would sometimes get into Ford's body and basically just take it for a joyride, do whatever he wants. Makes Bill makes Ford put his dick in a beehive, or make him punch a bodyguard or whatever. He made Ford walk towards like the edge of a cliff, and then he let Ford wake up then and there, like in the middle of the night, and he done that just because Ford was already like trying to scheme how to get rid of Bill and all. He done that to Ford just to basically tell him, don't forget who owns you, buddy. By the way, all right, I run this shit. I own you. You made this deal, and you can't go back on this deal. There's no catchbacks, all right. So you just remember that, or otherwise, I'm gonna be making you eat razor blades for breakfast in your cereal. That like he doesn't give a shit. He's like the type of guy that'll do anything. It seems like that it takes to get what he wants. And yeah, if he did get out of the world, I feel like it'd just be the end of the universe. Maybe not the end of the universe, but it'd be like hell. It'd be like Weird again. It's like Walking Dead, but like with demons and shit. It was all weirdness and stuff. But anyways, yeah, I just pretty much wanted to talk about Bill. He's also probably my favorite cartoon villain. I think he's one of those villains. He's actually one of the rare cases of like a character who's super OP, but you also get to know like his character and all. It's pretty complex and shit. Gravity Falls, it's a pretty good show. If you haven't watched it, it is a pretty solid show, especially Bill. Bill Cipher, he's a brilliant villain in it, I can't lie. But anyways, that was me talking about Bill. See you later.